Okay, so let's see. I can turn this down just a little bit. Hi, Crystal. Namaste. Okay, so I'm not gonna wait a long time to see if who joins because you can always go back and watch it later. But namaste. Nicole Farrell here, Kachina Yoga. It's been, I think, about a month since I've been live. I've been doing a lot of moving around, and so I've been trying to settle. So trying to get back into the groove here. But I did have some things that I really wanted to share. And so first and foremost, happy Moon Day, happy Monday. I hope everyone is having an absolutely amazing day. It's actually beautiful here in Georgia today, which I'm trying to enjoy. So I'm trying to do this video early so that I can get back out there and because I know what's coming later. Winter is coming. So today's video is over mastering the elements and how that begins within. So, I wanted to say that when I do videos for what I consider to be newborns. Newborns are those who are new to spiritual awakening, those beginners, the babies. And so a lot of times I make it very plain, very simple, very easy to follow. And while it can go a lot deeper, I think it's just more beneficial when you start off with things that are easy to digest. You know, we don't start off on solid foods. We start off on milk from our mother's breast, hopefully. So, talking about the elements. So, I know that when I got started with alchemy, it was a little confusing to me because there were a lot of terms that I didn't understand. They were talking about a lot of elements and a lot of different things, and I never really, it was really hard to grasp it for me at first until it became a part of my daily life. So first and foremost, when we're talking about the elements, always remember that any and everything, every sense, everything begins internally first, okay? I can never stress enough how much everything begins internally before it is externally. I mean, if you think about it, you came from inside of your mother's womb. And even before you went inside of your mother's womb, you were your own energy, okay? So everything is internal before it becomes external. When we focus so much on the external, we lose the focus on ourselves, and that takes us farther off of our path or farther off out of our ascension process, because everybody's going through their own thing, and when we're not focused internally, we're kind of missing out on what it is that we need to be seeing. So single thing starts internally. And when we're talking about the elements here today, we're talking about the 5 major elements that for earth elements of earth, air, fire, water, and ether, okay? So all of those elements are within you, within me, within all of us, okay? And each one of us has dominant elements inside of us, okay? So of the 5 major elements, we all have elements that are dominant within us naturally, but there is a way that we can be alchemists within ourselves, and we can change the elements within us. So this is, like I'm saying, all bodies are not the same. Every body, you see the different body types. You see how people have, some people are tall and thin, some people are stocky, some people are very athletic, some people are all types of different ways, and people act different ways as well because we have dominant elements within us, okay? So each body is a mixture of these different elements. This is why we can go, like you and I could weigh the exact same. We could go on a diet together, eat the same things, do the same exercises, do everything the exact same for the exact amount of time, and I might gain weight, cancel that, and you might lose 10 pounds, and because our bodies are different. So everybody has their own dominant elements, okay? So in Ayurveda, the dominant elements within your body, they are considered or called doshas, and each one of us has different dosha that makes up our body composition. There's the kapha, the pitta, and the vata dosha. Now, you can break it down even deeper. The doshas go into, they usually have a two-part component. So if you were a vata type, you would have a lot of air and ether. And if you were a pitta type, you would have a lot of fire and water. And if you were the kapha dosha, you would have a lot of earth and water. So the vatas are normally like the tall, thin, and airy type of people, and then the pittas are the more stocky or more athletic, fit, tight type of people, and then body type at least. And then the kapha would be the more stocky, solid, dense type of person. But you can actually take it and break it down even deeper into just the single element. So if you are looking for ways to find your dosha, there are quizzes and things like that, and we get into the doshas in the chakra balancing courses. I think the dosha is in the second course, but I'm not 100%. Sorry, they all run together. But all of these elements, they play a part in our mental body, they play a part in our physical body, and they play a part in our energetic body. So all of these elements affect our mind, body, and our spirit. So, and if you have any questions, I'm going to take those at the end so that we can keep this moving and make it as fast as possible for those who are like on a lunch break or anything like that. So we're going through these doshas, through these elements real quick. And let's start with earth, because we are all inhabiting an earth body, right? We're all living on the earth plane, okay? So a lot of times you hear people talking about, oh, we need to save the earth, we need to, preserve the earth, and we need to do this, that, and the other. But the best and the first way to save the earth is to save your earth, and your body is your earth, okay? So that is why the root chakra is associated with the earth. It all starts internally. You can go through, you can clean up all the litter from the earth. You can clean up all the air, take the pollution out the air, clean all the water, make it clean for everyone to drink, and save every tree in America. But if you're not doing that internally, if you're not taking care of your internal earth, it's all for naught, because everything begins internal first, okay? So we have got to learn to master our internal elements. So when we're talking about our internal elements, we're not talking about our zodiac sign. You can be a water zodiac sign, you can be an earth, air, fire, whatever, but that's another layer. We're talking about the elements within us, because all 5 of them reside within our physical, mental, and our spiritual body. So take the zodiac or whatever sign you were born in out of this composition right now for this conversation. Okay, so when we're going through the earth element, which is, like I said, our body, the earth element makes up, on our physical body, it makes up the dense and the solid structures of our body, like our teeth, our bones, skin, our hair, etc., things like that. It also makes up any food that you eat, okay? Any food that you eat is an earth food, because every animal comes from the earth, and every plant comes from the earth as well. So earth is very, very important, and that is why it is the first energetic base. The first chakra is earth, okay? You can't exist without having the earth elements. So those who have like a dominant earth element within their makeup, they tend to be people who are very strong in their resolve. They have a very high integrity. They like to stand their ground, similar to that of a mountain. They are like a big earth structure, a big solid structure. They tend to have a very solid body type, and they are very dependable beings. If you think about how earth is so dominant within us, and how we need it to ground, and we need it pulls us and grounds us, and we pull on the earth to recharge our batteries. That kind of gives you a sense of how important the earth element is within us. However, when you have too much earth, that's when you need to become an alchemist, and you need to kind of bring in some other elements, because what can happen is when you have too much earth on your physical body, you can become overweight, you can become very lazy, and you can mentally start to become very focused more on survival mode. Sorry, I thought I put that on do not disturb. Energetically, you can become very depressed when you're having too much earth within your body. Too much earth, what it does is it binds us to delusion, is what it does in our mental state. It keeps us stuck in negative ancestral patterns that we may have inherited just coming into this plane. So there is a reason why we need to transmute too much earth within our body. It can lead to depression, and we don't want to be there. It can lead to being overweight. If you think about when you eat too much, and you eat too much things that are heavy, you get what they call the itis, and you get sleepy. I mean, you don't want to do anything. You become lackadaisical. So when you have too much earth, you need to start drawing on other elements, such as fire, which starts to get you moving, water, which gets you moving, air, which gets you moving. You don't want to just sit there and just say, oh, there's nothing I can do, you know, this is just me. No, yes, there's plenty that you can do. You can become your internal alchemist, and you can transmute that energy. So if you want to know a lot more about the earth energy, the Root Chakra 101 class is absolutely free. It goes deep, deep, deep into the element of earth, okay? It's so important, and this is why I make it free, because everybody needs to understand how to get out of that stuck place, which is where you will remain if you don't transmute a heavy earth element within your energetic makeup. So our second element is water, okay? And water resonates with our sacral chakra. Water is 70% of our body's composition, water. If you think about even the breath that we breathe has liquid drops of water within the breath that we breathe. The water, it forms our saliva, it forms our urine, it forms our semen, it forms our blood, and it forms our sweat. And we know that sweat regulates our temperature as well as detoxes our body. So water, it helps us express compassion, it helps us express gentleness, and it helps us to calm and to soothe. So if you think about water, it normally takes the path of least resistance. I mean, when you see a creek, the water just flows, right? When you see anything, raindrops, water just falls. Water is usually going to take the path of least resistance, and that's what makes it gentle. But it has an opposite side too. I mean, water can be very, very dramatic and very powerful and very frightening when it gets on the opposite side. So when you have a dominant water element within your nature, you tend to be one of those people who people go to put out fires, because that's what water does. It puts out a fire. That you tend to be the person who people go to calm and to soothe them and to heal them and to solve their problems, okay? But when you have too much water, a lot of times you get stuck in your emotions, and in human emotions, which we need every single human emotion. Every emotion is beneficial to us for some point, for some reason. But when you have too much water and you get stuck in your emotions, it tends to cause a buildup. And those are the people that turn into that frightful water, and they can become very, very turbulent and very out of control when it builds up. They're those quiet storm that's building. You know, you have to release that, and you have to, because like I said, water carries the emotions. You have to be able to transmute that. So then you have to think about that and bring in the different elements. Okay, you might need to introduce some fire. You might need to introduce some earth. Okay, you don't want to get caught up and be out of balance within your water element. And the water element, we go really deep into the sacral courses. Like I said, all the courses are 28 days. You get to learn how to transmute each and every element within your body. So for anybody who's just starting, we're going to take the questions at the end, okay? The next element we go into is fire. Fire within our physical body regulates our metabolism and our digestion, okay? So fire creates thirst, it creates hunger, it creates fever, and it creates sleep, as well as it transforms our energy. The element of fire works very, very, very closely with the chakras, and it works very closely with the mind, okay? If you think about when you get too warm, which is a characteristic of fire, when you get too warm, you become sleepy, right? That affects your mind. And when you get too warm and your body heats up, you become thirsty, okay? And then you need to produce sweat, the water, to regulate your temperature, okay? When you get when you work out and you burn a lot of your internal fire, you heat your body up, then what does it do? It turns you into a hungry person. You get very hungry, okay? So fire does a lot within our body. And when you get a fever, if you think about what a fever is, it is your body heating up, trying to transmute the negative cells, the sick cells, into something of a positive or a healing vibration. Okay, so fire is transformative in its nature alone, and that is its direct purpose for us, is to transform things from one state to another. So when you think about people who have a lot of fire within their makeup, they tend to be the people who just light up the room. I mean, they usually have a very warm personality. People are usually drawn to them, but they can also have a very explosive type of personality, just like that of fire. I mean, if you think about, you have a fire and you have a little candle, and the candle is just like a little lit candle. You know, you have a nice little controlled fire. But if I were to add air to this fire, or if I were to add ether into this fire, that fire could blaze very highly. Now, if I put water on that fire, what would happen? It would go out. Or that fire can take water and it can heat it up into steam, right? It can boil the water and it can heat it up into steam. It can turn it into a gas. So fire is transformative in its own self. Now, like I said, fire, it works with the chakras and the mind very closely. Therefore, people who have a lot of fire just tend to be anxious, and they can become very stressed. Like the earth, too much earth can make you depressed. Too much fire can cause anxiety. And so then you would need to transmute that into something that works better for what it is that you're trying to achieve, okay? But fire is very good. It's one of my favorite elements because it's so transformative. Okay, so when you think, sorry about that, you want to learn a lot more about fire, then you can get into the solar plexus course. That is the chakra that regulates all of the fire within your body. So that course goes 28 days, again, into transmuting and understanding the element of fire within your body. Okay, so moving on up. When we get into air, air controls the breath within our body. It controls the expansion, contraction, and suppression within our body. It's also responsible for all the movement within our body. Just like wind is responsible for movement in the air, out in the external, air is responsible for movement within our body. If you think about when you have too much air, you get very gassy. You get, you have to get that air out. So considering movement, think about thought as well. Air helps you to move, just like it helps you to move outside, it helps your thoughts to move. So people who have a lot of air within their element, within their makeup, sometimes their mind is just all over the place. They're doing all kinds of things, and a lot of people they're starting projects. They're doing one thing. They got 5,000 things going at one time, and people will tend to call them fickle. Sometimes they don't finish what they're doing because the air is causing movement. It's causing a lot of creativity. It's causing a lot of change within their life and within their makeup. And so it's not that they're just necessarily fickle or flighty. It's just that they have a very high air element and they need to find a balance for it, okay? Because these type of people, they just change like the wind. And when you think about air, we all have to have air to initiate, action and movement within our life, just like we have to do it within our physical body, but we just have to understand when it's out of balance, okay? So people with a lot of air, they tend to live for change. They like to move. They like to be on the go. They like to travel. They don't want things to stay the same. They are always the ones that are pushing and moving and going forward. Okay, and air is extremely powerful in the fact that it regulates around your heart chakra. That's why the heart chakra the heart chakra goes with the element of air. It creates movement. Now, that movement, if you have control over the air, you can move the air up, move that energy up into your higher chakras. Or if you're not in control, it can push it down into your lower chakras. And if you think about the element that's underneath the heart chakra is fire, you are fueling fire. And if you're in that balance is not there, it's going down and it's fueling all of those lower chakras. And if you're not in control or don't understand those lower chakras, it can make things a little bit difficult. So we go over that in the heart chakra course. That's going to be 28 days, and that goes deep into the element of air. Okay, it's very important that we understand how to transmute all of the elements within our body. And so the last one that I'm talking about is ether, or sometimes referred to as space. So ether is like the most misunderstood of the elements. A lot of people kind of skip over it and don't really know what it is, because it is the subtlest of the elements. If you think about the fact that it's space, it's holding a place, right? So all of your organs, when you're first created and your organs are empty, they are not necessarily empty. They're filled with ether. It's the space that is held, okay? So ether forms an attraction. So what it does is it forms a physical attraction or a physical repulsion. So once you can control and understand the element of ether, you are actually transmuting things, because ether is going to be fueled by whatever it is that it's fed with, okay? Ether is cold because it lacks fire. It's space. So quote, fire warms you up. It's still because it lacks air, okay? Air creates movement. It's light because it lacks the heaviness of the element of earth, okay? And it's dry because it lacks water. So ether, whatever element is introduced with the ether is what is going to bind to it, and is what is going to, it depends on what it is that you're feeding it, is what is going to be created. It creates the space for other elements to fill, okay? So a lot of times, like I said, we don't recognize it, and we don't recognize that we are feeding it with things that we don't really need. And ether regulates the throat chakra, which is our first connection into spirit. It's our greatest connection into spirit. It regulates hearing and speaking in the throat chakra. So a lot of times what we're feeding it is things that we're thinking within our mind, or things that we're saying out of our mouth, or things that we're feeling out of our heart, because it's right above the heart chakra. Like I said, you can either fuel that movement up, or you can direct that movement down. It's all about what you are doing with it, and that is going to be discussed more in the throat chakra class, okay? So talking about these, now, it's great to know them, but what is it that you can do when you get ready to master the elements? So when you want to change, you want to transmute, and you want to master those elements, the easiest way, the very absolute easiest way to do it is through food. This human body requires food, right? It requires us to eat. And when we are mastering our human body and we are in control, then a lot of times we don't need as much food as we think we need. But you don't know what you need until you've actually experimented and tried it out. So when you feed yourself, when you put food into your body, what you're doing is you're adding elements into your body. So you have to think about that. Seriously, it's not just that you're adding calories, which you are, because food is energy, and they've broke down the whole caloric system and how you turn into calories, and that fuels your body, and that heats your body, and that does this, that, and the other. But it also affects your mind, and it affects your energy as well. Everything, every person, every place on this realm has an energy, is made from energy, and has an elemental dominance. So when you're feeding your mind with things that are from internal or external, you are feeding your energy. When you're feeding yourself with food, your physical body, you are feeding yourself with energy, and you've got to understand what it is you're putting in. So when you feed yourself with things that are live or living that don't contain blood, those all have a very, or grown from the earth, let me say like that, those have a very high vibration. Living things have a very high vibration, and they raise your vibration. So things like fruits and vegetables, but then each fruit and vegetable has its own properties as well. But when you eat them, you tend to raise your vibration. Now, I'm not a person to tell anyone to eat, to be a vegetarian or a vegan or to eat meat, because each body, like I said, is individual. And you have to go and you have to understand what each food does to your body. You've got to be a chemist. So you've got to go and you've got to know how food affects you. But the only way you can know how it affects you is to experiment. If you've eaten meat all your life and you've never experimented with being a vegetarian, so you don't know what vegetables do to your body when you go on an all vegetable diet, it's up to you to do so to see how it affects your body, how it changes your energetic makeup. So you've got to experiment and you've got to document. You need a food journal, and you need to say, okay, and don't do it for one day. One day doesn't do anything. You need to go like a week. I'm going to go a week and see how my energy feels when I eat these type of things. Everything that you eat is an experiment, because everything is affecting each person differently, whatever that dominance is within your makeup. So when you're feeding your body a lot of live things, then you're going to see those vibrations raise. Now, I started being a vegetarian when I was 11, okay? 11 years old. But I cannot say that I've been a vegetarian since I was 11, because when my body craved something like meat, I gave it to it. I follow what my body tells me it needs. Right now, it doesn't need meat. It doesn't want meat. It doesn't desire meat. But tomorrow, something could change. I'm going to follow my body, because nobody else can tell me how to eat and how to change the elements within me except for me. I'm the best source for that. But I've got to be experimenting and documenting and knowing what happened. You don't know any changes unless you tried them. If you've never eaten meat before in your life, then you don't know what it is that happens to your body when you eat meat, right? If you've never eaten a bean in your life, you don't know what happens to your body when you eat a bean. If you've never had bok choy, then you don't know what that feels like. So you've got to be the person that goes in and that experiments and that qualifies your body as to what it does, because sometimes you need certain things. One thing about meat is it is a very registic type of energy. So it's a fiery type of energy. It transforms and gives you transforms your energy. So you got to understand what each thing does for you, okay? Because when your elements are not balanced, then that's when your body creates dis-ease within your body, okay? That's like too much earth. A lot of times you can end up with diabetes, okay? So if you think about when you have a lot of fire within your body, say you have a pitta dosha and you have a lot of fire within your body, and you feed your body with more fire, then you can cause inflammation and heartburn and things like that, anxiety within your body. Your mind begins to race. You have fed your body what you already are dominant with. So in order to transmute any type of element within your body, you've got to feed it a balance, okay? You don't feed it what it already is and expect that it's going to change into something other than more of what you already are, okay? So you don't want to be a heavy earth element and just constantly feed your body with lots of carbs and lots of tamasic type foods that keep you in a state of inertia. You want to feed your body with things that are going to bring you movement, okay? So somebody with a lot of earth energy may need a little meat in their body. I don't know. I can't say. Only you can know what it is that you need to change your body, okay? Too much earth type stuff can make you very sluggish and lazy and depressed, and then you've got to go in there and you've got to do something about it. So only you can know what the consequences are for you eating each particular type of food. But you definitely, if you want to make a change, you need to eat the opposite of what your dominant is, okay? You need to experiment, you need to document, you need to notate, and you need to give it some time. You need to not just eat the way someone told you to eat from birth. Okay, because a lot of times they don't know. Like, you and your mother may not have the same dosha. You and your father, you and your grandma who cooked for you may not have the same dosha. So if she's constantly feeding you this and that doesn't work for your body, guess who has the ultimate control at the end? You do. You have the ultimate control of who you allow in your life, what energy you allow in your life, what element is dominant within your body, what you're feeding your body, mind, and your spirit. Whatever that you put in your body is up to you, because anybody who's watching this video is old enough to decide what it is that they're going to feed into their energy. The last thing I wanted to talk about is how the human body works with food. So when you take food, what you're actually doing is you have your own programming already, okay? So when you ingest food, your body is now trying to override that software that you're feeding into your makeup and transmute it into something of your own, okay? So plants and vegetables are the easiest software to override. It's so easy to override them. It doesn't cause a lot of stress within the body. This is why it raises your vibrations. They're living things. But when you think about, well, some people do eat live meat. I'll leave that be. But for the most part, people eat meat that has already been killed. And once the animal has already been killed, the flesh has begun to decay, right? So it's something dead that you're placing in your body. Okay, so the more what's the word that I'm looking for? The more advanced that the animal is, the more difficult it is for your body to override that system. So cows, for example, cows have emotions. I mean, people have cows, and cows, they cry, okay? So if you're trying to eat the cow and the cow has its own makeup and emotions that your body is now trying to override, then you're going to go through some changes within your body while it's going through and digesting and putting that food throughout your system. Whereas it might not be the same thing for a plant. Even with fish, their brain is like this small. Not saying that, you should or you shouldn't eat fish. Like I said, that's up to you. But they are an easier thing to digest, especially the smaller that they are, because they don't have those emotions and they're smaller than you. Anytime you think about the food chain, the only thing that eats something bigger than itself on the food chain is usually like a vulture or some type of or some type of animal that goes and cleans up carcasses. For the most part, like a shrimp or roaches or anything like that. But for the most part, things eat things that are smaller than themselves, and it's very difficult on the physical body to digest something that is bigger than you. It just is what it is. It's harder to override the software from the energy, and it's harder for your physical body to override that, and it causes extra use within your stomach. So if you are eating meat, I challenge you to go and spend the extra money and buy high quality cuts of meat, because the low quality cuts of meat, they didn't make it to the prime grocery store for a reason. They didn't make it to the expensive restaurants for a reason. It's not the best meat, and you don't know how that animal was killed. You don't know if that animal experienced a lot of fear while it was facing its death, because what happens is, when the animal sees that it's about to die, it sees, especially like on a conveyor belt, and they see that everything before it was dying, that emotion goes into that animal, that fear, and that now your body is trying to override that, and then your body is absorbing it, and it takes a while for it to break it down, and you need to know how your energy acts. So a lot of people say, oh, I eat meat because I need a lot of protein. But most animals, especially cows, if you're eating cows, they're eating grass, so they're getting protein. The protein that you're talking about they're getting their protein from grass. So vegetables have enough protein. So you need to go and you need to experiment, and decide what works best with your body. Like I said, no one can tell you what to eat. No one can tell you what diet is right for your body. You have to eat right for your body type. You have to go and you have to document and you have to try new things and you have to see how my energy is affected. And if you need this type of element in your body, then you ingest it. Because like I said, food is the easiest, absolute easiest way to change your body makeup. Okay, the last, let's see if there's anything else I have some notes here. Oh, talking about changing your energy and the elements that you bring in mentally and energetically. Okay, so who you hang around, who you listen to, who you ask for advice and take it and go with, that is, you are feeding elements into your energy. Okay, so you need to, I always question who it is that you're around. If you're around someone who makes you feel good at the end of the day, who you have an exchange with and they leave you uplifted, they make you feel good, then those people are bringing good vibrations into your energy. But if you leave somebody and you've had an exchange with them, a conversation, relationship, whatever, sex, especially sex, and you feel drained and you feel more negative than you were in the beginning, and you feel like they're just taking, that may be somebody that you need to release from around you. Maybe not forever, but at least until they pull their vibes up, because they're pulling on you. Okay, they're bringing in a negative energy. And people will say, oh, well, I can't help it, it's my my cousin, or it's my husband, or it's my my best friend, or whatever. No, you have a choice. Okay, you have a choice of who you allow into your life, and you have a choice of whose energy you allow to affect you. And if you're a person, like I said, I talk to newbies who doesn't know how to put up protections and block the energy that's coming to you, then you have to sometimes just literally remove yourself from those situations so that you can find balance. Okay, you have always got to say, is this feeding my highest good? Because if it's not feeding your highest good, it's taking from you and it's draining you and it's causing you to be out of balance. And just like food can cause dis-ease in your body, people can bring you to a point of dis-ease within your body. Your mind is stressed, your heart is stressed, your energy is low. When your energy is low, your body gets out of balance. Okay, your immune system is compromised. So you have the reins. Okay, you have the reins. You have the right to take those reins and to claim every piece of power that's within you, regardless of who likes it and why they don't. It's all up to you in the end, and what you do with the power and the elements that come into your life. So I challenge you all to make this your own, to take the reins back and become the master of your universe. Okay, because the world is going to be what you make it. You choose what you feed into your world. You have the ultimate decision, and screw what everyone else thinks about it or how everybody else feels about it. It is what it is. So I'm gonna look here and see what kind of questions we got. Let's see, I'm gonna pull this just a little bit closer. Hey Ty. Oh yeah, okay, yes, the Root Chakra 101 is completely free, y'all. It is a heavy course. All of the courses are kind of heavy, but they're 28 days. You got time to do all the work. But they take you deep into yourself. They take you deep into your energy. They take you deep into the elements and the chakras, and they help you to find balance. I know some people have taken them more than once, and if you're a person who started and didn't finish, don't be mad at yourself, because it's a lot, but it's worth it. It's worth it to know you. Where can I find info about this course? I didn't see it on the page. I can drop you a link to the courses, but you can find the information on my website, which is kachinayoga.com. But I'll put a link here in the comments. Hi, Felicia. Makes so much sense. Yes. Hi, Alicia. Felicia and Alicia. Oh, you're welcome, darling. Any information on rice, white rice, Alicia? So Alicia, like I said, rice, well, like you're going to have to experiment. I eat rice, right? I eat rice, and anything in moderation is not going to be a bad thing. Now, I like brown rice too. I like red rice and black rice as well. But always trying and experimenting with your body. And I know some people, if you look at Asian people, they eat a lot of rice. They're usually not big people, right? Now, if it's been bleached and done everything else to it, then yeah, you might want to pull back from that. But if it's just a natural rice that just comes out of the earth, then you experiment with your body and see how it works for you in moderation. Hi, Leah. There's my baby. Sorry I missed your call. I had to block you because I had to decline it so I could stay on this video. Thank you for, oh, you're welcome, Ty. Now, also, so the classes are on Teachable, which is a site, and like I said, I'll put the link, but also you can get it through the website. And I started a new blog, which if you're not following it, it can be found on my website, kachinayoga.com. It's under Kachina Speaks. And I put a lot of information on there. I just started. It's a weekly blog, so it's not like too much information where you got to go check it out every day. But it is a lot of information, and I'm open to suggestions on what y'all would like to hear about as well. Some people don't like to watch videos. Some people would rather read. And I just love sharing with y'all regardless of what resource you like to hear about it from. Hey, Cassandra. Y'all, Cassandra is somebody special to me. We go back through some stuff. Candy. Hi, Candy. Let's see. Hi, Tamika. Cicely. So yeah, unless there are any more questions, then I think that's about all I wanted to share. I'm gonna try to get on here a little bit more often. Like I said, I've been relocating and on the move, and I hadn't had a lot of free time to do a lot of videos or anything, but I'm really excited about the blog. I'm really excited about the heart chakra class that is coming up, and I'm really excited about all the classes that are out there. And I just encourage y'all to keep on doing what you're doing, keep on working on your ascension, keep on experimenting with your energy, keep on learning, and never feel like it's just too much, too difficult. Just start one thing at a time, because like I said, when you get started, there's a lot. There is a lot, and it can be overwhelming, but just take it one day at a time, and just take it one topic at a time, and just keep your focus on yourself. Don't look at where everybody else is and how far everybody else has come, because they all started at the same place that you are. Everybody starts off the same. So I love you all. Y'all have a wonderful day. Namaste.